Hey, on my Travel Ones podcast, today I'm lucky to have Geir Ness. Geir is the founder and CEO of Geir Ness Fragrances. How are you today, Geir?
Hey, how are you? I'm doing great.
I'm doing great as well. I appreciate the time, and it's interesting that now all of us business travelers have a little bit more time to talk to people.
Yes, a few more minutes.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I was looking up your website and looking about all the fragrances, and what a success story you are. I mean, not just for fragrances, but for the world in general.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I have tried to, when I started, I have tried to be there, where I can meet the people, and customers that buy my products and be very part of it myself. Because I think it's important when you come up with, especially like a fragrance or something that's very personal, that you can be there yourself and talk to customer about your story, how we come up with it, and you get feedback too.
Absolutely.
So you get all those information from customer, and you make you better, and the product will be even better. And then that's how I been building it up. I started with nothing, and I just built myself up little by little. And so that's why I've been traveling almost 300 days a year for the past almost 20 years. So it's been a lot of traveling.
And when we say world traveler, you're literally around the world.
Yeah. So I traveled a lot, obviously, in Europe and United States, and also a little in South America and Central America as well. But this all stopped in March, of course.
Yeah. And then some.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
What have you been doing? I mean, I guess it's interesting. What have you done with your time?
So when this happened, and I realized that I had to stay in one place, which was hard in the beginning, but especially when you're so used to this traveling, you feel like, wow, what I'm doing with myself. I do everything fast. I speak fast. I do things fast. I'm very, so all of a sudden, like, Geir, calm down. So what I started to do, with some friends of mine in the morning, I also exercise. I used to train people, so I know a little bit about health and fitness as well. And I thought it was good for me to maybe motivate some of my friends that, people get depressed and they're sitting home. So we do like Zoom or FaceTime, where I do some exercise with some fun music, and I showing them in the morning. So then we have like a special time that I can work out with them, and, and do a little talk over the internet about staying in shape and also eating healthy, because a lot of my friends, the first month or so, they gain a lot of pounds, which is, and they're eating, everything. And it was just like, so sorry for themselves and all that. So I try to motivate people about looking at it differently. What can we make out of this situation to do something better and try to stay up there. And as you know, a lot of people have a lot of problem, obviously, because of this with the economy, with their money. They lose their jobs and all those things. So I try to at least try to motivate them and what they can do with their life. Like I started Spanish lessons, learn more Spanish. I did that 2 hours a day plus other things. So there's little things you can do without just sitting there and watch TV and eating, potato chips and all that.
Yeah, the quarantine pounds are real.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I found myself getting, the first couple of months was just getting a lot of things done around the house that my wife had been asking me to do forever. But
which I think is, and you know how we are. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think many people, and I too, I keep so much in my closet and this and that's, like now I can start to organize things that you said and get rid of things and it actually clears things up. But you always see, oh my God, I can't believe it, I haven't worn it. And you see clothes you haven't worn in 5 years. It's like, why is it still hanging there? And you feel like, oh, I remember that shirt or whatever. Just get rid of it, and you can give them away to organization that needs clothes. So you do something good too, while you work. So a lot of ways you can use your time for, and that's one of them too. I think it's very good to clear up your mind and do things for other people as well. While these things happen.
I think I totally agree with you. I think the people that use this downtime, because obviously everybody I talk to are business travelers and they haven't been traveling, whether it's a musician or an athlete or business people. But if you're
Right.
using that time to kind of reset and
Hmm.
make some positive changes, then it could be a good thing.
Right. Exactly.
You know,
So that's what I'm trying to do too. And I've been, it's been since March, and I have all these things, as we all do, lined up, and all my travel and everything. But for me as a person, it's been good for me in many ways, because I'm starting to think about what I really have and appreciate things more, instead of rushing through life that I have done for so many years and not seeing anything really what I have. And it's always been the next thing and that, and working with people, either staying on stage and talk to 1,000 people, or talk to 2 people, or whatever it is. You always go and think about next thing. Now I have time to really calm down and appreciate things. And I thank God every day, like what I have, and not what I don't have, but what I really have today.
Yep.
And I'm starting every day, always, since I was little, my mom taught me that, to do your bed. So the first thing I do when I wake up, even if I'm in a hotel, I make my bed. That's the first thing I always do. So you have one thing in the beginning of the day that you do that is positive, and say thank you, and you just sing a song like, what a beautiful morning, what a beautiful day. That song from Oklahoma. Yeah. So, I try to do things like that for myself. And then the day starts. So to do something positive right in the beginning when I wake up. And that's really helped me to continue the day, to be positive and happy, instead of the opposite.
No, you're the second guest I've had that said that to me. That
Oh, really?
Regardless of their travels or wherever they're at, the first thing they do is make their bed.
Yeah, and it really, and I have all of my friends starting to do that, and said, Geir, it really helps me, like I have to do it. Whatever tired you are, don't do your coffee first, do your bed, and then you can do the rest of it. And it really, I think it's good to have something that you do every day, start the day with.
Well,
so it's really helping.
The way he explained it to me was really similar. He just said you want to experience a goal setting and a goal achieving first thing in the morning, because then now you're kind of preparing your mind that you can achieve other goals because you've already achieved one. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
That's very cool.
And having goals in life are so important, even if you don't achieve them all, but at least you have something. And I think that it's so important to write things down, things you want to do, and you're working towards them. Even if you don't go all the way, but at least you have something going on in your life, instead of like having nothing. And I don't know, and we all want to do something, and we write it down and go for it. And I think that's, for me at least, and many people that I've talked to, think that is very, very important to do, to have a goal, to work towards a goal in life.
Do you think that's what made you successful with the fragrance lines?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I looked, it was interesting, Pete, because when I started my fragrance, I have no money. I borrowed money from a friend of mine. I maxed up my credit card and all that. And when the fragrance came out, in my mind, I had the best fragrance in the world, and then I believed it is so strong. And I can close my eyes and I can see a red carpet and I can see where I wanted to go. And all of a sudden, one day, I was invited to be part of the Grammy Awards with my fragrance, and to make a special, gift bag for all the performers on stage, and also all the nominees. I was invited to the party the night before the Grammys and whatever. But I looked at that way before that happened and believed it, and it happened. And I just totally believe that if you put your whole mind to it, even if it goes down sometimes and you feel, oh, wow, what happened now? You're just like, you could still believe in yourself and listen to your heart, and it will happen. Whatever. It can take longer. It can take a week. It can take a year. It can take 5 years. But you've got to believe in yourself. And also, what's very important is to stay around positive energy, people around you, not all the negativity that you hear, get rid of it.
Totally agree with you on that one too. Yeah,
because we all, sometimes you talk to people, Pete, like you talk to people, and always my back is hurting, this is all this negativity, right? And then you become starting, instead of concentrate about something positive and good, because it's all around us. But it's so much easier to be negative, I think, for people and say, "Oh my God, me and poor me and this and that," and my headache, instead of
especially right now.
So, yeah, exactly. And I get it. I get that people can get depressed, of course, when all the stuff happens. But that's why it's so important right now that we're trying to do something every day and have something positive happen and try to learn something and using your brain. And then you can feel better about yourself. And then it's easier to actually deal with all the other stuff if you have something else going on in your life right now. And I just suggest that you to go and learn something or gold or working out in the morning, whatever you can do. Do something healthy for yourself too, for your soul and for your body and for yourself.
How are you? Are you using that same principle towards your business?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. So my business, when I created my first fragrance, I wanted a scent that, first of all, reminded me about my childhood, because I was very lucky that I had two parents that loved me 100% and was there for me. We grew up in a very little space. We had we were three brothers in a one-bedroom apartment, and my mom and dad have their bedroom in the living room. They didn't have an extra room, and we shared bathroom with our neighbors downstairs and all that. But we spent a lot of time outside, and I remember being with my parents, and my mom always took me outside in the mountains of Norway. I grew up like that. And so when I created the fragrance, I wanted something positive, something good. So I created it, in Norway, and I named my first perfume after my mom, because she was the one that really was there, and motivated me and took me out and showed me the beauty of the nature that we have in Norway. So I used that for my first fragrance. And what's interesting of this is when I meet people that tell me all the stories about my fragrance, they say the same thing. It makes me happy. It makes me, all this positive energy. I have people name their daughter after my perfume because that's how they met their husband.
Wow.
I get all these stories from people, and that's exactly what I intended that fragrance will be. It's something happy, something clean and light. You feel good about yourself. And that's what I do with everything I have, and I try to do that with myself when I talk to people, that they will feel good about talking with me, like I want that positive energy. And we all have days that is not good. I'm not saying that everything is, all the time, but snap out of it quickly. You deal with it for a second or two and snap out of it. We don't have to stay there, and I think that's also something in business, that when you have days or you have things that doesn't really happen the way you want it to happen, but you still know the truth that it will happen. Eventually, better things will happen. And if you have that in you, I think it's so much easier to deal with things instead of right away be negative and, wow, the whole world is going under.
Craziness.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
exactly. So I'm using that definitely in my business all the time.
You mentioned that you were traveling about 300 days a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you making plans for 2021, or have you written off 2020?
So 2020 this year won't really be the same, because I'm working a lot with the public, personal appearances and doing it. And since now the department stores and amusement parks and places that I usually work with, they don't, right now that doesn't happen. So what I do now, I'm working on new project for next year. Then I'll have time to prepare for. I'm going to come out with a new fragrance next year. I have a lot of new things. I'm working on another line for animals. So now in my spare time, I also do a lot of volunteer work for the animal shelters. So now I have a little more time to do those things. That means a lot to me as well. So to help animals and not just people, we so many, animals and needs help as well. So that is been good for me too, that I have a little more time to do those things as well. But I don't think my schedule will be as busy as it has been next year. Sure. But I will probably be working more on those bigger things that I'm going to launch next year, and find out dates and time for that. And we'll see what happens now after this year, with everything from hopefully a vaccine one day to, what about, what's happened. So it's kind of hard right now but I hope that like in the spring next year, things start to get little more back to normal again, or whatever normal is anymore. But and I'm looking. I think that it will happen. Better things will happen in the spring and next summer. So I'm not going to put myself into a big schedule until the spring of next year.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking, but who knows? Things can happen. I'm just trying to be a bit smart about this now and not, so knowing that things will be like this for a little while longer. And I do think it will change. I think it will be better for sure. But I think the next few months will still be kind of the way it is right now.
And I know for my business it affected, but did the lockdown affect your materials and your distribution?
Oh yeah, I mean everything basically shut down.
Yeah.
I mean, I usually get orders into the department stores. I work with Disney, all that. So everything like that was just shut down for months. But I also have an internet, a website, internet business. And this year I'm up over 35% from last year with that. So I have concentrated more about my website and social media, like, Facebook, Instagram, and all that, and trying to make that happen and be more involved with people that way. And I also actually looking into do what you do your fabulous podcast, starting to do that, and and just talk to people and get motivated that way too. So right now, I mean, most people are online, they're buying things online, so it's important to continue doing that and be more visible in the social media, which I haven't really done much so, to be honest with you, until now, because I've been so busy myself being out there to the public. So exactly. So, but now I realize I have to also do more of that. So that's what I'm going to starting to do more of also. I already started a few months ago, but I'm going to be more and more involved with social media and things like that too.
It's interesting. I tell a lot of my brick and mortar stores the same thing. My internet business is over double this year.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah. And it's literally the reason I'm still feeding my family, because obviously when brick and mortars are closed, I can't ship product, and I only get paid when they ship product. So, but my online business is literally over doubled where it was at year to date last year.
Oh, that's great.
So
that's wonderful.
I tell my brick and mortars, I'm like, get some kind of presence on social media. I go, you don't have to be a full blown, selling products and all that, but at least Instagram's free, Facebook is free, Twitter's free. Yeah. Your website will cost a little money up front, but then it can, I don't know. It's hard to get some of the mom and pops, the brick and mortars to see that end of it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It costs a little money if you want a good website, but you can probably find somebody, younger that needs something to do and get it pretty cheap. You don't have to spending a lot of money on it, but it's important to have a good website that people can read and see clearly, and I can order the products and not complicated. Because some of the websites you see, they're so complicated to even go in there and even buy something. You have to go through 5 million things, instead of this quickly. So that's important too, I think, to have a clean website and it's easy for customer to see it right away.
Well, I think for like your product, once they've tried the gear for men or Laila or the frozen product, they know they like it. I mean, for me, I've been using the same cologne for 10 plus years.
Yeah, I had to send you some.
Yeah, exactly. So now I buy it online. I used to go to the department stores, but now I don't need to, because I know exactly what I want.
Right. Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, it's hard to, if you don't, if a new customer come into my website, they can smell it, right? So they have to looking at the reviews. So I just tell people to just Google my name and review, and you can read about it. You know what I mean? Too. And people do that because I got very good reviews of my products and everything. And so that's the hardest thing with the fragrance, obviously, is that you can't smell it. But that's why you have a story behind it, and tell them how we come up with it. And people like stories now. They like the story behind the products,
Absolutely.
how they come up with it, what you do, and all that. And my whole line of products are inspired by Norway, the mountains of Norway, so I put a lot of, hours and days and years into every product that I have. And, so I'm very proud of my product too. And it's like, I think when I go out to promotion, people can feel it, that you are real, you're not just a person that, go in and mix something together and get it out on the market. I just put a lot of time and thought into it. And that's why I get feedback from people. So I see somebody in the beginning, people goes, oh, I'm looking for a cream. I'm so dry skin. So then I was working on come up with a cream for dry skin, and then
That's
you
cool.
get feedback from them. Yeah, exactly.
Do you think, I'm just trying to think, like, because retail stores are going to change after the lockdown.
Right. For sure.
I mean, you've been big in Nordstrom's for over a decade now, right?
Right. And they do a lot of, Nordstrom do a lot of online business now too. So we're doing really well with Nordstrom online right now since it's happened. And but I do think retail overall will definitely have a better retail like stores online that's easier to get into. But I wonder, because I think also now after this, I think also people wanted to like to see people and go, and meet people again when this thing is over, So I know at least with Disney, they only have like 30% capacity right now, but they're selling it out and people are waiting and, they wanted to go out again and meet people. So when it's safe and everything, I think you will see people want to go out, want to meet people. I think it's going to change a lot. But I definitely think that the internet business will be huge. But I also do think that people want to maybe go into stores again or meet people or, that kind of personal touch a little bit more.
I hope so.
Yeah. I think they're going to do both. I definitely think so. Just be smart about, how you approach and like when you open a store again or, how do you do it, and, but I really think, cause I get emails every day from customer, from Nordstrom, from guests, Geir, when you come back, where are you going to be? We miss you, we miss your touch, we miss your laugh about, like, and then a lot of people I didn't even know that I don't even remember seeing before, but they all come to me, my office gets every day, emails and messages on Facebook and everything and asking when I'm coming back. So I said, I will come back when I can come back,
Yeah, of course.
I will be there soon again. So people missing that interaction too. But definitely, as you said, I think, the internet will be, sales on the web will be increasing for sure. But I also think people will still go out and meet people and go to the stores again as well.
There has to be that interaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway. When you're traveling with your kind of mindset, I'm very curious. How do you fill up your time? Like when you're on an airplane, are you doing work? Are you doing creative stuff? Are you relaxing?
You know what? I'm not really good at working much on the airline. I do. I do, as I told you, Spanish. So I do some of my Spanish things on my computer while I'm traveling.
Gotcha. Cool.
And then I play chess every day for like an hour just to use my brain.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting on the computer or my little laptop, whatever, and I do chess. And then I do, maybe I see like a show or a movie that I like to see, or I go through my notes and see, okay, something that I need to work on, but most of the time I'm just trying to relax when I'm on the plane, since there's certain times I have to do some work, of course, but most of the time, I would say 70-80% of the time I'm on the plane, I will do just fun stuff for me, like chess and movies and, maybe solitaire or, something that it's just no brainer. But chess is good for your brain. I mean, it's proven to be very good for your brain, to exercise your brain. And that's what I try to do every day as well. And I know because of Alzheimer's and everything else, to when you think about that, like it's important to exercise your brain. And I try to do that every day with something, either learn a language or chess or something.
That's so interesting you said that, because I've been doing, I wish I would have known this 20 years ago, but you find out when you find out, I guess. But yeah, I mean, whether it's like, for me, I like doing word games.
Yeah.
And just,
that's good.
And then some of the other free apps that you can get, just like that make your brain think, because you want to keep your brain firing. That's
right. And that's very important to do, because I read much about that. And I don't have much Alzheimer's in my family, but I know how important it could be you anyway. But, all of us can get that. But I think the more you express your brain and doing it, the less chances are that you will get that. So, and I think it's so good for you anyway to express your brain and learn new things. It's not like if you're turning 40 or 50 that you can't learn anymore. You can do that until you're 100. So I think that's a good thing to do when you have some time for you, like sitting on a plane to actually trying to learn how to play chess or the word games, as you said, or something. I think it's really, really important.
Well,
sure.
I mean, I started this podcast. I was 51 when I started the podcast, and I didn't know how to record things. I didn't know how to make a website. I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. So it was all brand new. That's part of the exciting part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, for example, right now when I'm talking to you, like, how do you get the phone call into it? You know what I mean? I wouldn't know how to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So for me, I called my daughters.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
I cheated. They're in their 20s, so they're part of that millennial tech. And I was like, Allie, here's what I want to do. How do I do it? And she goes, hang on. And she'd call me back like a half hour. Okay, here's an app you can use for this. And here's a program for editing audio. And that's
great. That's great.
And then YouTube.
Then you learn it. It's fun. And YouTube,
YouTube's been awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Especially for the websites and all that.
Yeah.
But
that's wonderful.
I totally agree with what you just said, because a lot of my friends are like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, well, what do you do with your free time?
Right.
It's like, I don't want to just sit there and watch somebody else play sports. I want to talk to them,
Yeah, and I think it's great. I mean, it's like you have a lot of great people, and people. I think it's such a good thing, because it's like a conversation with a new person. You get a new friend. You're talking and you have questions, and you learn something, and I think it's a great tool for sure.
Totally agree, and I think it would be a good thing, especially with your personality. A podcast would be great for your business.
Yes, I think so too. I just, I have a microphone. I have all this thing. I have garage band, whatever you call it, and put it onto it. So I was planning on starting in October with it, if I can do it. And your podcast here now, are you in 30 minutes, an hour, or how long do you doing it?
For me, it just depends. I mean, my guests, it's all on my guests. I mean, some of my guests like to talk, and they will continue to talk and talk and talk. So, like, I've had some that are an hour and 40 minutes. And I've had some that are 20.
Yeah.
If I'm squeezing in, because back before, like I said, business travelers are tough to get a hold of. And
right.
I had a NASCAR driver who was literally on the way to the hospital to pick up her adopted son. And
oh, wow.
So I got that. That's the 20 minutes I got, because then she had to go to another race, and
Right.
So, people are busy. A lot of musicians are tough to get a hold of, because if they weren't touring, they weren't making money.
Right. Exactly.
So, I mean, some of the musicians I've talked to are 270, 290 days a year on the road. So
yeah, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So some of those guys I get for 20, 30 minutes, and some, it just depends. I try not to set a time.
No, that's great. That's wonderful.
But I imagine the people you could talk to on your show.
Yeah, I mean, I have been lucky too, though. Like, I have friends that are, celebrities, that I know that, and I know their lifestyle. And also, I think if they were to be on my show, I know that a lot of people have questions about that kind of lifestyle, what they do, behind the scene and all that is important, and what I realized, meeting all kind of people from that to, I know people from all different, I know the people with millions. I know people that actually have been prostitutes. You know what I mean? Like all kind of people and what they're going through and why they're ending up that way and what they do now. And it's so many, interesting people to talk to, and come up with. And I think also, in my story that I started, with no money, nothing. And I sold my clothes in garage sale to make rent, and how I used myself as an advertisement to do this. And I didn't have any money to start, right? Or nothing. So you had to use yourself. And I was actually glad in a way that I didn't have money behind me, because I didn't spend money that I didn't have to spend. I know people that started when I started that went out of business after a couple of years because they thought that they had to spend money into those glamorous magazines, with big ads, and all page here and do this and spending all this money, being fabulous, right? And having all this entourage of people with you doing a promotion. I only had myself, right? Staying there, and giving hand massages and smiling and being myself. And it started to pay off. But in the beginning, I thought, wow, what I'm doing here. All the other people have all these people with them. They have beautiful flowers, decoration. I only have myself and some pictures of myself in the background, right? So
that's right, man.
And when I launched it at Nordstrom ordered 100 bottles for 3 months to see how much I will sell. And, I didn't know what to do. So I called up a friend of mine that was a photographer. I remember this is 20 years ago. That was totally before really cell phones, right? So I said, John, can you come down and take a picture of me at Nordstrom and pretend that I'm a big celebrity from Europe? Flashing. And I said, yeah, I would love to, but I have no film in my camera. I said, who cares? Nobody will know. Just come and flash. And, and I had a couple of friends of mine that will come down and say, oh my God, here he is. I can't believe he's here today, doing all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I had a red carpet in front of me that I got at the garage sale with a $5 suit that I bought. And I had my suit on, the red carpet, some picture of me behind me. And then when Nordstrom opened the day before Mother's Day, people see this guy there in the corner with a photographer and people around me. They're like, wow, who is that? So this was, in LA, in Beverly Hills. So of course, people want to see a celebrity or they want to be one, right?
Totally get that.
I got all these people, and I had people lined up, and in 1 hour, I sold out all the bottles that was supposed to be there for 3 months, And Nordstrom called me up the following month and said, what happened? Yes, I sold out. And then I just used myself and sold it. I just you got to do what you got to do, right? And then it happened, and I got 1 store, 2 store, and then that happened. I got into the Grammys, and then I got into Disney World, and things happened. But it's little by little. But I believed in myself so much, so it just happened. I didn't know what's going to happen, but it just happened. So I think whatever you have a dream or a business you want to do, as I said earlier, you just got to believe in yourself and know the product and be around positive energy, and instead of going around and also maybe you shouldn't tell everybody what you're up to, because some people have a tendency to just put you down, so I think it's important to stay around just positive, good energy.
Yeah, see, it's interesting you say that, because when I first started the podcast, I was telling people, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing that for?" And a lot of negative stuff. That's right. You're not going to do. Who's going to want to talk to you about their travels? That because some people don't get it, and some people do.
Right. So, exactly.
Now, 50,000 downloads later and all that, people are like, "Oh, hey, you're so lucky." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. Right. I'm sure some of the people who said that to you in the beginning said, remember, I told you will do well. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You won't believe what people said to me. Remember me? I knew you're going to make it here. What I remember with them was like, oh my God, you're crazy. Name a perfume after your mom. You need another name. And you know what I mean? It's all these things. So yeah.
That's funny.
Exactly. So it is funny. So let's see how important it is just to believe in yourself like you do. And you can do it when you're 50, you can do it when you're 20, it doesn't matter, I mean, I don't believe in that age thing, and that's an excuse for things you can't do anymore. You can do it anytime, you just have to believe in yourself.
Well, and I think both ages, because I tell that to my daughters, they're 25 and 26, and I tell them the same thing. I go, look, the advantages you have is you can make some serious mistakes and you still got time to make it right.
Right.
So you can do something stupid and do it over and over and over again. Whereas I'm on the tail end of, I'm on the last leg. So I'm on the back 50, as I tell people. I'm past halfway. So,
but you also know so much more than they do with a lot of
exactly.
things in life, right? So, you have that benefit with you.
So I have the experience that they don't have.
Yeah.
I go, girls, if you wanted to start a podcast about business travel, you could do that. But your take on it would be, hey, Mr. Business Traveler, where have you gone? What's your favorite places to be? What do you like? Your questions would be different than mine.
Yeah, exactly.
But you could start the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. I agree.
I mean, I can only imagine. I see, like you started a fragrance company, and in my head, I go, I wouldn't even know where to begin doing that.
Right.
Like, I mean, I wouldn't even know. You got testing labs and
yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, exactly. I mean, I didn't know much either, so I had to find it out because I started to work in the weekends just helping friends of mine that was in the business doing like fragrance modeling, right? Like you go into a store and you spray people and, this is the fragrance, blah, blah, blah. And I was told by my friend that got me this job in the beginning, spray everybody that goes into the store.
Yeah.
And I thought he literally meant everybody. So I was running after people, spraying people. And the manager at that one store I was at, he just come up to me and said, excuse me, but I don't think this is for you. So I got fired after like 5 minutes, working in this business. That's how I started my business, getting fired. So, and then I learned more how to do it. But, you just talk to people. And I always liked scent because, as I said, I grew up basically outside in Norway with all the beautiful flowers and herbs, all the fresh scent. So I always was into scent, always like that. Not particular perfume, but I was into scent. And then when I started to work, with this, and doing different, work in the weekends, working for these different fragrance companies, I started to learn a lot very quickly. After I got fired, I got a job in another one, and then I learned how to really calm down a little bit and not doing it and talk to people. And that's how and people asked me where I was from. I said Norway, and they asked me, does Norway have their own perfume? And I found out we never did. And that's how I really come up with the idea of doing it. But and then I met people that was in a business. I started to talk to people. I met the perfumer, and one thing led to another,
That's cool.
So, but I didn't know anything about the business when I started at all. Not one thing. So the only thing I did was I like scent. I like, I was always into that, but not into really perfume. But
yeah.
And I started to learn. And while working for the other company, I learned what people wanted in a fragrance, and what they didn't like. And so that helped me a lot because I worked with some of the biggest fragrance houses in the world. And I could tell, sometimes people just buy a bottle because of the brand, because of it's, all the advertisements, or it's like a famous person or a celebrity, right? Yeah. Or whatever. What I had to do when I started was just to sell me and Norway, right? Instead of, because I didn't have a name, I was not a celebrity, nobody knew who I was, nothing. So I just had to use another approach to doing it. So, and I think that's also important to find your own little niche, with anything you do, and why you are special, like with your podcast, what you do with your travel, people travel and stuff, and it's different, and people like to listen to it, and they learn something new, and they know that when they listen to your podcast, they learn something new, what they can do, with traveling, or interesting to hear about. So I think also what you do, it's great, and when I heard about your podcast, and another friend of mine actually heard about your podcast too. I talked to him in New York, and he said, God, this guy is great. He talked about you, like your podcast and how you started and everything. So he knew about you too.
Oh, wow.
So that was cool. Pretty fun. Yeah. You are a big superstar.
Yeah. Just don't tell my wife that.
It's just awesome. It's great. I love it.
I feel the same way. And if you're, like I said, do I fill my time watching TV, or do I fill it with my podcast, talking to people from around the world? It's like, well. Yeah,
right. And I also think, when I travel to what I do, I never really eat the food on the plane. And especially now, we probably don't get any food right now. When
you don't.
This craziness happens. But I have with me always a little bottle of water, or I buy it in, of course you can take it to security, and I have an apple with me, and that's it, instead of eating chips and this, and, I'm trying to be healthy, because when you travel a lot, it's important to eat healthy, and when I go to, let's see, a restaurant and I'm not home, which most of the time I'm not, I'm asking for certain food. I have like every morning, I have my egg white with spinach, mushroom, tomatoes, some berries. I eat really, healthy, simple food. And when I go to a restaurant, I ask for like a salad with no dressing on the side, and chicken and all that kind of thing. So you can actually ask for anything you want. Instead of, I tell people, don't look at the menu, because the menu is the worst thing for you when it comes to a lifestyle or eating healthy. Just tell them what you want. See, I want a chicken. Do you have a chicken without any sauce on top, vegetables instead of blah, blah, blah. And I just tell them that I'm allergic to salt, even if I'm not, just to get it more a clean meal.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing, for 20 years, and it's been working, It's just
Do you
being
find yourself,
smart about things.
I was just curious because I just ran into this. Do you find yourself when you're home and you order food or you go out, you do the same thing even when you're not on the road?
Yes.
Yeah, because I just ordered a salad with dressing on the side, and I'm here.
Yeah.
It's like okay.
Yeah. But see, the dressing thing too, they have most of the dressing, even if you said, light or low calories, whatever, they put so much stuff into it. Then I'd rather do like a extra virgin olive oil or something, because that's good fat, so put the olive oil on it, and olive oil is really good for you. So that's a good fat that you can put into the salad instead of the dressing and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And I think, that's what I do instead of. So most places have olive oil. So you can just ask for olive oil instead of the dressing even, and put that into it. And, so it's not so dry, and, have chicken or whatever you want into it.
Yeah. And like you said, you can order chicken just plain. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
People think that.
And salads. But I think it's, for me at least, eating also healthy helps me focus more when I travel as well, especially when I travel so much that I've been doing, that if I was eating all the food, a lot of carbohydrates and all that stuff, you get more tired and you can't keep it up. And it's important to be, when you travel, talking to people that you really keep it up and you know what to say and to think, because you see so many people get tired, and I see them on the airport all the time, people that inhaling the chips and the this and that, and they are mostly business people, and you just wonder, okay, how does the meeting go? You sit there and are tired, and then you have to be alert and ready. And especially for me, working with people all the time, I have to really concentrate. And I like to eat healthy, not that you can't do days that you can do whatever. You can have your pizza and you can do all that. But on a regular basis, I keep it very, the same all the time.
Yeah.
People laughing at me. Like, I met some people the other day and said, okay, so what do you have for dinner? Let me see. Did you have salmon or chicken? It's like, those are the two things, and maybe another fish, So I eat the same thing almost all the time. But I like it. I like simple, clean food. So I'm not really a food person that like all kind of different foods. I eat the same thing, and I keep seafood is my number one, my favorite.
What is?
So I eat that like seafood.
Oh, okay.
All kind of fish. Yeah. I eat that at least 3 to 4 times a week. And then I can do a couple times, maybe days, with some chicken or lean turkey. And that's basically it. And a lot of vegetables, all kind of vegetables. And in the morning, as I told you, I had the egg white and the spinach, broccoli, tomatoes, kind of thing for breakfast. And then I do like a simple little salad during the day, and maybe have an apple in between to get some little more fiber into it. And I try not to eat later than 7 o'clock at night. That's the latest I usually eat.
Wow, really? Even when you're traveling?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you have business dinner and stuff, so whatever. And then I go to bed early. I'm at the bed at the latest at 10 o'clock. I'm up at 5 working out for 2 hours. And crazy, huh?
No, I mean,
so,
it's interesting.
Yeah.
So many people now are on a more regimented schedule. That are, you don't hear successful people going, I'm just going to wake up whenever.
Right.
Successful people don't do that.
Right.
I mean, they don't go, I'm going to go to sleep around this time, or they're very, because they know what they, they're sitting there going, I got to get this done. So I need to do, what are the steps to get there? I need to eat clean. I need to eat healthy. I need to drink more water, less sodas, this and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yet there's a lot of business travelers that learn the hard way that doesn't work.
Yeah.
That just eating whenever and whatever doesn't work out.
It doesn't. And also I met, because I talk to a lot of people when I travel at the airport, if your flight is delayed or canceled or what have you, so you get to talk to them. And a lot of them say, I've been so depressed lately, because I've been eating all this stuff. I've been traveling so much. And then I said, why don't you do this? And then listen to me. And I had one guy actually send me a text message, this was like, I guess last December, so last year, that I met 3 months before that. And the flight was canceled. We were sitting there talking, and then for like hours, right? So I talked to this one guy, and he was a little overweight, and he was depressed. And he said, well, I have a really good job, but, I've been eating all this stuff. I'm depressed. I can't even concentrate. And then I told him about my life. I said, really? I said, yeah, I mean, not that you have to be so crazy as I am, a 2 hours workout, but try the eating habit. The eating is the most important thing, more important than working out. I said, what you eat. Try to do this and that. And he sent me a message and a picture of himself. And, I didn't even recognize the person. For 3 months, he'd been doing it, and he felt so much better. He said, oh, my God, my job is better now. I like my life. And he's thanking me. And it's like, okay, it's not that hard, but I guess because he looked at me and I traveled more than he did, and he thought, okay, if he can do that, I will try too, and he was motivated too, so because we talked for a long time. But that makes me really happy to see that, you can actually change your thinking and habit. And if you are depressed or whatever, you can change it, so.
Well, I think that's the key. Like I've told my daughter several times, because one of the things I started doing is especially with the podcast and all the people I've talked to, is eating cleaner and all that. And I went back and told my daughter, I go, look, I didn't tell you to eat cleaner back then because I didn't know any better. I ate what my friends ate and what my parents told me to eat.
Yeah.
And it was just always, now there's so much information about foods and whether it's dairy, whether it's meats and clean meats and dirty meats and vegetables and more fruits. And,
exactly.
I mean, growing up eating cereal and with milk was just what you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you start reading the ingredients of the cereal, and you're like, oh, what the hell am I putting in my body?
Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
So,
and you go in and you see this thing as like low carbohydrate or, no sugar added. And doesn't mean that there's no sugar in it. It's just like they haven't added extra sugar in it, things like that, you read in the labels and everything. So, yeah, definitely.
So that I think that's the cool thing about technology and at least now with being able to learn and like you said, share. I mean, that's one of the things hopefully somebody listens to this episode and if they're a business traveler and they go, Geir's saying, eat cleaner, exercise, wake up, and have a schedule. So if he does, like you said, those are my rules always. And I can guarantee you, if somebody is listening to your podcast that do travel and feel, okay, whatever, just try to think that way. And when you order something on a restaurant, don't watch the menu. Just order what you like, what is healthy, and ask if they have that. Almost every restaurant that you go to will have chicken, right? Or fish, if you like that. If you're vegetarian, then it's even easier because then you can ask for it. And then you just ask for dressing on the side, or if they have olive oil, I put it on top of it instead of. And stay away from sugar. Is like the worst thing you can have is sugar. So try to stay away from sugar in the morning when you have breakfast, and eat healthy and drink a lot of water all the time. Water. And stay away from soda too, because sodas is not good for you either. Even the diet things as well, has a lot of chemicals and stuff in it that is not good for you. Well, a lot of the travelers I talked to have said that when they drink excess water when they're traveling, because when they stay hydrated with water, it helps them with jet lag. Yeah,
it does. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, if it's good for jet lag, it should be good for everyday life.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. I drink water all the time. I mean, I can remember last time I had a Diet Coke or anything like that. It's not. I'm not saying that you can't have that once in a while, but I'm saying if you get used to eating and doing something healthy, it's so much easier for everything else in business if you do that. And because I've done it for 20 years, so I know it's working. So I just and I know it's hard sometimes if you have a habit of doing different things or drinking. Some people are obsessed with Coke. They have like 2-3 gallons of it a day, and ever. So I know it's hard, but try to think differently, and start your day with doing your bed and eat good, and everything will be fabulous.
I always tell people better is better.
Yeah, exactly.
If I eat one better meal or one extra glass instead of milk or soda, then better's better.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm at a hotel, let's say if you're on the 4th floor, I do the stairs instead of doing the elevator if I can't work out. I do those things too. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to walk more and do things more, and just small little things like that will make a big difference.
It all adds up, hopefully.
It does. Yeah, absolutely. It does.
So what else do you have coming up? I don't want to.
So right now, the next thing I will, I don't even know when I'm going to start my real traveling again, in promotion wise, but for next year, as I said, it will be the new fragrance, working on some items for animals, for dogs. Because since I work with a shelter, I have to come up with something I can do with that. So everything else will be probably the same. But as I said, I probably won't be traveling much before next spring. That's where I'm going to really start again, I think, to do more of my promotion and traveling. But we'll see what happens, with all this craziness. But hopefully by then we will know a little more and have hopefully the world will be a little better than it is today.
Well, hopefully.
So
what's the best way for people to find out what you have going on? Is it just the website mainly?
So if they go to my website, which is my first and last name, GeirNess.com, GeirNess.com. They can read about it, or I have my Facebook is GeirNess. Facebook, I'm on Instagram, so they will find me. But my website is the best way to go, to GeirNess.com.
Yeah,
and you can read about me, or you can Google me and find out.
That is
put Norwegian fragrance in the Google, and you will, or Geir Norway or something, or.
And I don't know. Have you seen the reaction videos of your product on YouTube?
No, I haven't.
You should. It's pretty. Because that's how I find out about a lot of new music. Is there's people that they'll listen to a new song for the first time and then they react to it.
Oh, really?
And
I will.
There are reaction videos of your product.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
And
I'm going to go.
They're great. Yeah, type in Geir Ness reaction video and
okay.
You'll see a lot of cool.
Awesome.
They're reviewing your products. It's cool.
Oh wow! I haven't looked at that yet. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And I'll make sure to put all the links in the on my website and then on all the pages for people to check out what you have going on.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
No, I truly.
Well, this was wonderful talking with you. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
This is a quick hour. I appreciate the time, buddy.
Thank you so much, and you take good care.
Yep.
And we hopefully talk again. I have you on my podcast when I
there you go. Okay? There you go. That sounds good.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Geir, well, I'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, please do. Thank you so much. Okay. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.